Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Parents' Night or Open Night here at the IB at Viborg Katedralskole. I am Marie Krogh. I teach IB history, and I am also the EE coordinator here at the IB. With me tonight, I have my colleague Rikke, who is our CAS coordinator and a student counselor, and two of my students who would like to present themselves in a little bit more detail now. So, Peter, could you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yep, my name is Peter, as Marie said. I'm an IB2 student. I'm half Danish, half Dutch, but I've lived in Denmark my entire life.
Yeah, I'm Abby. I'm an IB1 student, and I've lived in the US until I was 16.
So, these are who we are, and we hope that you get all the information you need from this sort of presentation of this sort of open school, this tour today. If, however, you are left with questions, or if you have some questions you'd like to ask us, we have a chat function. If you sort of look at the bottom of your screen, you'll see there's a chat button. Here you can type questions. Everyone will be able to see the questions, and Rikke, Peter, Abby, and I will do our best to try and answer your questions. However, if you're left with questions at the end of this, you can always look in our brochure, which is also to be found in the team, in this chat, or on our website, or you can write an email to our IB coordinator, Mads Henriksen. But for now, I'm going to show you a few slides with the sort of basic information needed to know about the IB. And remember, please ask any questions you like in the chat. So, let's get this started. What is the IB? IB is short for International Baccalaureate, which is quite a tongue twister, the word baccalaureate. It's a 2-year education. It's an international education. For those of you coming from the Danish school system, it's the equivalent of N and 3G, so the second and the third year in the Danish sort of youth education system. What the IB does is that it gives you access to further education, not only in Denmark, but in all the world. Because the IB is a truly international education. It doesn't sort of have any ties to any nation or any government. It's a non-profit organization, and currently you can find more than 5,000 schools all over the world, like 157 countries and expanding. What we also offer here at the Viborg Katedralskole is what we call pre-IB. It's not part of the IB education, but it's as the name implies, a sort of preparatory year before you enter the IB. So in the Danish system, that would be the equivalent of first degree, or the first year in the Danish youth education system. The pre-IB is where it's aimed at the IB. We will teach you the skills that you need to manage the IB. You'll be taught by the same teacher that also teaches the IB. Everything will be taught in English, except Danish, if you take that, and your creative subject. And we really recommend that you do this, because it's just a good way to get to know the school, to get to know the IB system and the IB academic vocabulary. So, why choose the IB diploma? Well, to get the best possible preparation for higher education abroad. The IB is seen as quite a sort of tough education. It requires something we require something of our students, but this is also recognized by universities throughout the world. So if you have an IB education or have an IB diploma, you will have access almost everywhere. It will also prepare you to do well in an international setting or international education, or even in English-speaking higher education in Denmark. And of course, unless you're a native speaker, this is a great way to improve your English, to take it to a very high level. And last but not least, this is a perfect way to make friends from around the world in this international community that the IB education is. So, who are the students in the IB at Viborg Katedralskole? Well, they come from a number of different backgrounds. So we have someone that, have Danish parents, but have been living abroad for years and returned to Denmark. We have people whose parents have jobs here. We have people who sort of like have one Danish parent and a parent from, I don't know, Lithuania or something. And we also have people that come from the Danish school system, from some of the international school systems in Denmark, and then just from, plain old regular Danish public schools. Students who are curious, ambitious, and international minded, and are good at English and want to improve. So, what do you study when you enter the IB? Well, you have to study 6 different subjects. 3 of them will have to be studied at higher level. That would be the equivalent of the Danish A levels in high school, gymnasium, and 3 subjects in standard level, so that'll be Danish B level. You can always see a full list of subjects and the different levels that we offer them at on our homepage and also in the brochure, which, as I said, you can find in the chat. So, what might a typical program be? I mean, even though all our students are in the same class, they can have very different sort of profiles. So we can have, for instance, students who go for a social scientist or economist profile. So you can see here, the subject might be Danish at either higher level or standard level, English, literature and language, history, economics, or physics, or psychology. Then you have to have one science subject and math. So as you can see, there is specialization due to the economics or psychology, but there is also a little bit of everything. So the IB aims to be both specialized, but also to give a broad foundation, a broad sort of general education. As you can see here, you can also go a more linguistic way, where you only have biology and math from the natural sciences, you don't really do any social sciences, and then you focus on different languages. And finally, you can also go the sort of full-blown natural sciences way and only do a little bit of history, literature, and then science, biology, chemistry, physics, and math. Yes. You can also find all the detailed information about how you choose specific subjects, again on the homepage or in the IB brochure. So, I'll talk a little bit about the subjects, but what is it actually like to be an international student in a Danish school? What is the environment here? Well, we have 80 to 90 international students right now. We have 1,100 Danish students or STX students. So of course, we are not that many, but we come with so much. We come from all over the world. And right now in our IB, we have more than 30 different nationalities. About half our students in the IB are local, so live in the area, and the other half are residents at our boarding school. But everybody here will be an IB student and a Viborg Katedralskole, shortened VK student, and will take part just like any other student in school events, parties, clubs, assemblies, etc. And also, you can always participate in all our sort of student-run committees and clubs. Green VK, which is our environmental club, art club, debate club, building robots, running, etc., etc. But I'm not really an expert on what it's like to be a student here. So I'll leave it up to you, Rikke, Peter, and Abby, to tell all of you guys a little bit more about that.
Right. So Abby, why did you choose to do the IB at Viborg Katedralskole?
My big reasoning behind it was growing up in the US and English being a language that I've always had school in. I needed to find an English program, and IB was that, and Viborg was the city we decided on, so we picked IB at VK.
Makes sense. Which subjects did you choose, and what do you like about your favorite ones?
I have, on higher level, I have math, chemistry, and economics. And then on standard level, I have English, Danish, and physics. And probably my favorite part of those of my favorite subjects are the teachers are extremely knowledgeable in the subject. And so I feel like I really learn a lot during the lessons.
What do you think has been most challenging coming here?
Probably moving to a brand new country where I knew next to nobody and had to learn a new culture, a new place, and just everything from scratch.
How's this different from what you were used to in the States?
When I was in the US, it was throughout the day I would mix with about 170 kids, whereas here I stay with the same 30 kids throughout the day. So here it's been more so actually interacting with those 30 kids that I'm around all the day, as opposed to like the few people that I had known for a long time that I was used to.
Right. Peter, you're from a more local context. Why did you end up here?
Well, I ended up here for multiple reasons. First of all, being taught in English, I found that very intriguing. And then also, I liked the idea that I was able to create my own timetable and choose the subjects I wanted to. So that was a big part. Other than that, just the whole idea that you are with people every single day from all over the world and you make connections that you would otherwise not have made. It makes school extra fun and extra exciting, and I found that really intriguing.
What has been challenging for you, do you think?
I would say a challenging part about IB, at least compared to a normal STX, is that we have fewer modules. However, that does not, or lessons. However, that does not mean we have less work to do. So that means that there's a lot more self-study and a lot more homework. So you need the self-discipline in order to actually do something. And I found that personally rather hard in the beginning, but it's something you need to and you do learn.
Right, and you're in IB2 now, but initially you chose to do pre-IB before the diploma program. Why did you make that choice?
For multiple reasons. First of all, it was to better my English. It also gave me an entire year to ease into the IB system, where I got to meet most of my classmates and most of the teachers as well. And then other than that, the main reason, and which is a really good reason, is that you get to try out all the subjects before you actually have to make a choice. Where I found out I was a very science-oriented student, so I chose a lot of science subjects.
And Abby, you made that same decision of doing pre-IB first. Why was that the right thing for you to do?
My big reasoning behind picking pre-IB was, well, number one, I didn't have 11 years of prior schooling, so I needed another year of school. And also I was moving to a brand new country that I didn't know anything about. So it was a good year to adjust to the country before adjusting to the academic workload.
And if you were to describe yourself as an IB student in one word, which word would you choose?
I would probably pick balanced.
And Peter, what about you?
I would probably say self-discipline.
So, yeah, thank you so much for sharing all of this. And before I move on to talking about the IB learner profile, I just had a question in the chat and I didn't have time to finish writing it, so I'll just give the answer here. So Tina in the chat asked me how many students per year. So we have approximately 30 per year. Where there is a bit. And Abby, how many are you in IB1 right now? 30, yeah. So there are 30. But since they all choose different subjects, they are never taught 30 students together. So this is one of the benefits of doing the IB. We have the luxury of small classes, small groups studying with a teacher. At least us teachers, we like it. I don't know about you, kids. So if there are any more questions, I'll also try and look at them and see if I can answer some of them live, and we'll see if we can type answers to you as well. So Abby and Peter were asked to describe themselves with one word. And as you can see here, the IB likes to use a few extra words to describe our students. So they have what they call the IB learner profile. And these are all the sort of characteristics that the education tries to help our students grow into. So we try to help them become knowledgeable and open-minded, reflective, good communicators, but also risk takers, actually trying to sort of, okay, I believe in this, I will do this. And also caring about the world and about the people around them. So, of course, the subjects will help them achieve this. I mean, as a history teacher, of course, I believe that history is very good at teaching people to be open-minded and seeing one sort of issue from multiple different perspectives. But the different subjects won't do all of this on their own. So this is why the IB also has something that is called the core. The core consists of 3 subjects that all students must choose. And these 3 subjects or tasks are the TOK, which stands for Theory of Knowledge. We have the EE, which is short for the Extended Essay. And we have CAS, which is short for Creativity, Activity and Service. So what does that mean? I mean, sounds funky, but what is it? Well, theory of knowledge is kind of like philosophy, or sort of philosophy of science. So what it really tries to help the students do is to think for themselves, think out of the box, but also reflect on, why do we do this? How do we know this? What is knowledge? What is learning? And TOK will sort of interact with all the different subjects at different times. So all of this sort of thinking about what we do in the subjects will be sort of organized here in TOK. All students will also have to write an extended essay where they really need to apply this academic thinking that they learn from, amongst other things, TOK. The extended essay is a university-style academic paper where the student chooses the subject, the topic, and the methods, and they basically perform this themselves with only some help from supervisors. Those of you familiar with the Danish school system will know that this is, or will see that this is quite similar to what is known as studieretningsprojektet, or the SAP, sorry, slipped into Danish there. And the final sort of element to the core is CAS. And since we have our CAS coordinator with us tonight, Rikke, could you please then tell us a bit more about CAS?
Of course. The idea is that CAS is really what sets IB students apart from other educations. And contrary to, for example, TOK, it's generally not a subject that you take lessons in, rather it's something you do in your own free time. So the idea is that, as you can see, C stands for creativity, A stands for activity, being physical activity, and S stands for service, basically voluntary work. And students have to do this in their spare time for around 18 months. And they can choose whichever activity they want to do. So if they like playing football, they should continue playing football and try to develop their skills in that, and that will count as activity. And if, for example, they are assistant coaches on a specific football team to, I don't know, be the coach for their younger brother or something like that, that will then serve as service at the same time. But it's important that they try to have a balance between the 3 strands, meaning that they do both creativity, activity, and service. And they have to do something, not all of these, but something every week. And they also have to reflect upon it, because the whole purpose of CAS is, partly developing as a person, becoming that whole person we want to make or want students to become. But the idea is that by reflecting on the different experiences that they have, they will get a better idea of how they develop, how their actions affect other people, how they can play a part in the world in the best possible way. So it will definitely increase their reflective skills. So, oh, I forgot. Peter, will you tell us a few words about what you're doing for CAS?
Yeah, of course. So While CAS, I first initially thought it sounded pretty dreadful. It really isn't. The trick is to do what you actually find fun and enjoyable. So me being a science-oriented student, I, for fun, bought some bismuth, which is element, bought it from China, and I made a little science experiment at home. And while I did end up ruining my mom's frying pan, which she wasn't too happy about, it was fun. I learned something from it, and it counted as CAS. So it's really about doing what you find enjoyable and fun.
And what about you, Abby? What are you doing for CAS?
My current CAS thing right now is teaching myself how to knit a blanket, but when we weren't in lockdown, I was playing basketball in my free time.
Thank you very much.
So thank you all for sharing that. I got a question in the chat about whether or not it is more difficult for an IB student to go to university as compared to a Danish STX student. If I understand this correctly, I mean, the question is all about, does the IB prepare you as well for university life as the Danish STX, the gymnasium, does? And I would actually say in many ways more, because as Peter mentioned, this whole thing about self-discipline and actually being able to make yourself study in between lessons is much more similar to what you will experience at university. And in terms of the sort of academic level, it is the same level as we require from the Danish students or higher. I can't remember any subject where we as teachers feel that the level we teach at in the IB is sort of lower than in the STX. And all us IB teachers also teach in the Danish system, so we all have grounds for comparison. I hope that answered your question, or else please write it again. So we are almost at the end of our time. So my final comment here will be, you can apply for either the pre-IB or the IB. We recommend the pre-IB simply because it just gives you the best foundation to study the IB. You only need a 9th or 10th grade ECTS C average. If you have 11 or more years of schooling and it's very good at English, have good grades, mature, has an international sort of, is international minded, you can apply directly to the IB. All of this you can do here at our homepage. We have an application deadline at the 1st of March. You will again find the application form on the school homepage. If you come from the Danish system, you will need your NemID, and you need to remember that applying through the school is not enough. You also have to apply through optagelse.dk. If you're interested in the boarding school, after you finish here, after you leave us here, you can go visit the boarding school. They also have a Zoom meeting here tonight. If you want to apply to the boarding school, you will find a separate form for application there as well. So the time's running out, you have places to go. So let me just sort of send you off with a thank you so much for joining us. And I hope this helped answer your questions. If you have further questions, please send them to Mads Henriksen, who is our IB coordinator. His email is here on the screen, also in the chat, also on the website. And let me just send you off with our school band, who has been sort of recording a song from the safety of their own homes. So thank you so much and goodbye.